Oh, interesting.
Meow.
I want to thank the owners and supporters of the W6 BBR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club. Believe it or not, they put up with us and let us use the Anti-Net. Before we take over the airwaves, I want to check and see if there's any priority traffic. At this time, come forward and let us know before we take over. And as you can hear, my dogs are very excited about the Anti-Net tonight. All right, today I'm going to start with this day in history, July 1st. 1867, the Autonomous Dominion of Canada, the Confederation of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and the future provinces of Ontario and Quebec was officially recognized by Great Britain with the passage of the British North America Act. July 1st later became known as Canada Day. And isn't that interesting as we approach the 4th of July, also known as Independence Day, or July 4th. July 4th has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1941. But the tradition of Independence Day celebration goes back to the 18th century and the American Revolution. On July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress voted in favor of independence, and 2 days later, delegates from the 13 colonies adopted the Declaration of Independence, a historic document drafted by Thomas Jefferson. From 1776 to the present day, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, so be sure you make the most of it this weekend. All right, the 2 Meter Crew is not an actual club. We're just a bunch of hams learning and enjoying things all ham related. There's no dues or fees to be a 2 Meter Club member. For more information, log on to 2metercrew.com or visit us on Facebook at 2MC. The 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's an open net. Everybody's welcome. Feel free to join in. We've made it really easy. You can come over the air on the W6 BBR repeater, 145.470 with a negative offset of 600 kilohertz and a PL of 127.3. The Geek is set up in EchoLink at WG5EEK. We have an AllStar node at 51094 and a DMR talk group at 314-9964. And best of all, you can catch us live streaming on Ham Radio TV on YouTube. All right, I'd like to take a minute to see if we have any updates on the 2 Meter Crew Facebook. I made a special request to see if our very own Green Donkey, K6 DJV, would be available tonight to come on and talk about the 2 Meter Crew Facebook and maybe some of the recent activities he's had since he's been released on the mountains.
The pressure is so great. Hello, everybody. Let me take the gum out of my mouth. This is K6 DJV here, and so far so good with the Facebook page. There's been a little bit of activity. If you haven't seen the video, went up to Mount Diablo, horsed around, what was it, for the ARRL contest. I was up there Saturday. I didn't go Sunday, and also was up there for the VHS contest. Looking at the YouTube page, looks like we're up to a whopping 315 members. So we are slowly growing, just like herpes.
Thanks for that, Derek. And if you guys haven't checked out any of the recent, Derek's recent videos, they really are great. His editing skills are so much fun. It makes it a lot of fun to watch. But most of all, he highlights getting out there and jumping on the old international calling frequency and making the most of 2 Meter simplex. So, heck, if he can do it, any one of us can, right?
Yeah, so get out there and do it. If you can't, oh, that's okay. I'll be on a mountaintop listening for you.
Thanks for stopping by, Derek. Appreciate it. And some of your fans will be happy to know that they got to hear you out here tonight. We know you normally have an early bedtime.
I know. It's kind of hard to go to sleep with so much sun. Thank you much, everybody, and thanks for everybody who had a chance to check out the videos. I really appreciate it, but I can't not give you those brain cells back. 73 is that I will be monitoring for a little bit. This is K6DJB, the Green Donkey.
All right, from our most famous member, we'll go to a semi-famous member. KM6FAK Jason, returning from field day, having to rebuild his shack bit by bit. Jason, any comments as we get kicked off here?
Well, thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone. Jason here, KM6FAK, and out there on YouTube. I'm here pushing a lot of buttons, so I'm trying to see the chat as quick as I can. A lot of familiar faces. I see Smoke and Ape, and we got Steve in there, and I saw Chuck earlier. Chuck actually came out and saw us on field day. How fun was that? But yeah, here in a little bit, we've got a few special guests. I've got some photos, and if I can get the clip it of video, I really want to show you what one of our special guests can do. So let's see. Right now, things are going good. I've got lots of green lights, and everything is working. So KM6FAK, back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Jason. N6CMB here. Okay, so we got a few things we like to do normally as we check in before we get going on our topic for the evening.
I apologize for this.
Talk about any planned events, you know, and that can be, is anybody planning to jump on a mountaintop and do a little simplex tonight and check out their HF rigs? Anything you might have that's coming up. There's camping, maybe a club event. Your club has something going on. We'd love to hear about it, especially if it's something we can all participate in. So I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any planned events to MC or otherwise?
I'm having a little audio problem there. Stick with me.
Well, I'm going back up to Mount Diablo again this Saturday. Does that count? And KM6TAU is going up to Signal Peak Friday night, and he'll be operating Friday night and Saturday morning.
That absolutely counts. Can we expect to find you guys on 4652?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right, folks, put your donkey ears on and keep them open for Derek and on Saturday. And I didn't catch the other call on Friday.
KM6TAU. He'll be driving up there Friday night, and he'll be on the air for a little while Friday night and Saturday morning.
Question. Sounds good. Was there another station in there?
Chris, I just had a quick question for the donkey. What time do you think you'll be up on Mount Diablo on Saturday?
Hopefully between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So I think Bill is going to be leaving Signal Peak about 1 o'clock.
Sounds good. I'll be up the hill. I will try to remember to throw it to 52 and see if you're there. W6CRP.
All right, and one last call for any planned events, big or small. Fantastic, moving right along. I'm going to steal something that I kind of learned. I'll bet a lot of clubs do this. And since we're not a club, I'm going to change it around a little bit. But I learned this from the VVR. They've got a little section. What I'm going to call it is, what is the best antenna? And what I'm looking for here is, does anybody need some help? Maybe raising an antenna on their property, or some Elmer help, or something that Elmer's can help you out with, or helpers if you just need some able-bodied young men to come do some work, and maybe you're getting up there and need a little help with something. It's just a chance for us to help each other out as fellow hams. And so I'm going to throw it out there. If you need some help with something, whether it just be over the air or in person, throw your call sign out here now. now. Let us know what kind of help you're looking for, and after the net, since we have your call, we'll be able to talk with you and figure out what kind of assistance we can offer. So anybody out there looking for a helping hand. And Carlos, this doesn't include your GoFundMe page.
Thought you were going to post the link up there for me in a minute.
Well, I'll leave it there for tonight. Something to think about in the future. If you need some Elmer help, and dialing in a radio or finding out what the best antenna is, great time to ask, and we can help you out afterwards once people have your call. So think about it next time around. Appreciate it. Okay, tonight's talk is going to be about field day again, although this time we're not talking about it coming up. We're going to talk about our field day experiences. I'd love to hear about what you did, where you went. Did you learn something? Share an experience, maybe a contact that you worked, or just something that stood out to you about field day this year, maybe how it was different than other years with the change in the rules, whatever you want. I'd ask that you come one at a time, come with your call sign, and let's get a little conversation started, old school 33 style. So come one, come all, but come one at a time.
Or at least try your best. All right, so.
Wow, this is an exciting field day with all of that kind of doubling, tripling, and quadrupling going on. So let me put someone on the spot to start with. Hey, Mike, our geek, how about letting us know how your field day went and maybe some of the excitement that you participated in?
Hey, this is Mike, WG5EEK, the geek. Well, I had a whole grand total of 0 contacts, which, it is what it is, I tried, 1.25 meter. I only heard one guy, never came back to me, so I guess I wasn't getting out. I had duplicate contacts on 2 meters, so, the club already snagged that guy, but it is what it is. It's okay. It's fun. So some of the fun stuff we had going on, though, we had some really good food. We had a lot of really nice looking antennas, as you can see in some of the pictures that Jason's going there, right there on the screen on the YouTube. We're trying to look at a tri-band antenna. Wasn't quite working on 80 meters, but it was working perfectly on 20 and 40. And my good friend there, Will, made his first HF contact on his new 891 Yaesu radio, and then went on to make 71 more contacts. So kudos to him. It's pretty amazing. And with all the wind blowing around, I was really surprised we did not lose a single antenna. So it was overall, I would say it was a really great day. Back to you, WG5EEK.
Hey, Mike, without disclosing any names or particulars, do you mind sharing a little bit about what happened the last morning? First of all, Mike was there every day helping out with feeding everybody bright and early. He was there early, stayed late. Can't thank him enough for all he did helping out with the club and making life great for us with good food. But there was a little bit of an exciting event that went on, and it turned out to be a good story. Mike, you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can do that. We had a local ham. He was having some issues. I don't want to go into, his personal details, but I had to run into the hospital, and turned out he needed some care. So it was a good thing we got him there. He really didn't want to go, as most of us, we're kind of stubborn, but that's okay too. We got friends and family that push us to do the right thing, and so we were able to get him to where he needed to be. And so he should either be coming home today or he came home yesterday, which is good. Like I said, I don't want to get into his personal details over the air or on YouTube, but he's doing okay, and that's what counts. Yeah,
I just want to give kudos to Mike and a few of the guys that, said, hey, you need to go, and they didn't take no for an answer. They got him out there and got him the care he needed, and that's what being a good ham, I think, is all about. And it was great to see, and like I say, fortunately the result was we got a guy who's still with us and healthy and all that good stuff, and turned out well. But that's the way field day is. You never know what's going to happen, I guess. All right, we must have at least one other person who participated in field day and has a story to tell.
Well, Chris, I'll go now if I got it, W6CRP.
Got it, Carlos.
Mine's a little different story. I ran up the hill. We have a little cabin up in the mountains and intended to be back Saturday to show for field day. I was looking forward to meeting everybody face to face. I did that on winter field day and really enjoyed it, had a good time. But things didn't work out up there. There are a couple things that I had to absolutely get done, so I was stuck at a cabin. I was pretty bummed about it. But the next day I thought, man, I've got a 2-meter rig up there, and so I hoisted the old antenna up high as I could and sat down for a few hours and ended up just having a blast, just with a simple 2-meter rig, a battery, and a temporary pole shoved up in the air. Met a lot of the local hams on 146.520. I ended up, I don't know, with 12 or 15 contacts, but a lot of fun chit-chatting with the guys. So that's what field day is about, right? You figure out how to work with what you got and how to make your equipment work in the best of the situation to me. So wasn't a total loss and had a good time.
There's a great picture just popped up on Facebook of Will. It was really cool to see him out there making not only his first HF contacts, but he created this massive pile up and was just killing it on getting contacts for the club and having fun doing it. So I think it's really cool. All right, anyone else out there with a little field day comments or experiences?
Quick comment, in and out, KN6BXX.
Michael, go ahead.
Nothing too special for me. It was just my 33rd anniversary of my wife, but I did help make some contacts on 2-meter simplex with the Green Donkey on Saturday, and saw his video. Heard myself and a good friend, N6NFF Doug, same club we're in, and it was fun to see as always. Green Donkey's he's always a good job. And before that, after the little lunch day with my wife, we went down to meet up with my friend AI6DG, Joel, running our North Hills show over at Davis Ranch and Slough House, east of Sacramento, and that's pretty much my 2-meter experience. I hope everything went well for everyone else, and hopefully got some good contacts. So back to you, Chris. I'm going to go in and out here and go off the bed soon. Take care, everybody. KN6BXX. Great net as always. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. I think it's a good reminder that, both from Carlos and Michael, that you don't need to have, an extremely special, field day rig or anything. A lot of it's just about making sure your mobile rig works and you're able to operate when we lose power or whatever your emergency rig might be. And keeping it simple using some VHF is, hey, that makes it easy as well, and shows you that you can still get out and enjoy field day without doing anything crazy or unique. Who's next on field day?
I guess I could go. KM6VNQ.
Hey, Brian with an I, our favorite pirate. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Not so much. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, my first ever field day in my ham radio journey in my life. It was. I think we can all agree that it was a really, really tough field day with everybody working from home now rather than joining up and meeting with clubs thanks to the virus. It was a little unfair trying to work stations when they have big pileups, and they're on the East Coast and they're probably pushing out 2 kilowatts because now they're working from home, and you can hear them, and they're about an S20 over for you, but they can't even hear you. And I really, really feel bad for those who are activated QRP. So that that must have been really tough. But yeah, on the Saturday, I took the girlfriend out, and we worked for about 3 hours in the morning before it got too hot, and then I went back out solo to a community center. And then the next day, I worked in the morning. I didn't work the full 24 hours. That would have been crazy. But I had to find a wide open area. Granted, I'm in the center of the valley, which is not good for me, but still got out. And I got 52 contacts for me, and the girlfriend got another 2, so that's 54 total. And I think she actually enjoyed it. No simplex contacts. I couldn't get anybody. And I think longest contact, or a big DX contact that I made, was about 1 mile away with the local Aries club members. So anyway, I won't hold it too much longer. I'll turn it back over to Net Control. This is KM6VNQ.
Thanks for sharing that, Brian. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're a guy who's out there doing field day on a regular basis. You're not afraid to throw your gear in your truck and find an open area and you know, call CQ on any day of the week. Doesn't even need to be field day. So appreciate you sharing your story. Who's next? Who else was out there on field day?
KM6ZTH. So on my field day, we're actually down at the Benicia State Capitol, and all social distanced and all that. And I ended up operating a 2B with a fellow member, and had a blast. Made a whopping 4 contacts sitting there. Yep, a whopping 4 on 2 meters. But my favorite part was actually the fact that we had lots of people coming by, asking questions. What are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? How can we get involved? And all that fun stuff. So I loved the camaraderie and the public part of that. It was a good time.
Thank you, Santa.
Are you sure they didn't want to just come and see your epic beard? No, I was curious how many folks, you know, public came by and said hello. That's great. Was there, you know, people asking that seemed like they might, you know, take some information and look into the hobby?
We had a guy with a motorcycle that probably attracted more of the questions than the than the radios. But you know, we actually had a number of hams come by, and one of them had no idea what field day was. He was a Kiwi, but licensed here in the U.S., and didn't know what field day was, and didn't know about bow things, and didn't know a whole bunch of things, because for him, ham radio is just a thing that's on his sailboat. So, you know, it was a great educational experience for everybody who came by.
So I noticed some of the photos from you guys out there, at least a solar panel. You want to tell us real quick what kind of rig you were running?
So that was a battery inverter that somebody dropped off that had a solar charger on it, and that was running my ICOM 5100, and that ran over to a poorly placed antenna. I used a toolbox to support my Diamond X500. So, and QRP, pushing out only 5 watts with the antenna barely off the ground. That's why I made 4 contacts.
Hey, 4 at 5 watts, that's probably not so bad, and I can't imagine that location was without noise.
Actually, our setup, my cohort had a digital setup. I didn't know that FT8 could sound so clean. It was amazing how little noise there was, but it was a lack of elevation for actually making contact. So we picked up the folks on Diablo and a couple of locals.
Fantastic. Okay, who's up next talking field day?
Hey, so Chris, what we could do is I want to kick it to Joel. Joel, do you want to go on the repeater, or do you want to come through Zoom audio?
This is Joel, KN6
IDB. What works best for everybody? Can you hear this?
Yeah, that sounds really good, and we'll keep the theme ham radio, so go ahead. Let's now here's what's interesting about Joel and why I invited him on, and thank you, Joel, for coming out. Let me put my picture on the screen as well. So this was Joel's first field day. I think his license, well, he'll explain when he got a license. And what I'm really curious about is, what did you think? What was your experience? Because, I helped plan the thing. I'm going to tell everybody it was awesome. But I want to know, what does someone experience when they first get there? What could they see something better or worse? Because, we do this every year and we forget that so many times there's a lot of visitors. And it's always nice to know that the visitors are going home feeling satisfied. I mean, I think the people that put it on probably feel satisfied as well. But go ahead, Joel. Introduce yourself. Let people know exactly some things about you.
Hey, Jason. Thanks for inviting me here. Thanks for letting me be a part of the club. And thanks for helping me start off with all this stuff. And you kind of helping me get through the process of going. So everybody, thanks for inviting me here. Thanks for letting me be part of the club. Again, my name is Joel. I live here in Vacaville, and I've had my license for about 3 months now. And answer Jason's question, the reason why I got started in it was my son and I we're doing some four-wheel driving and stuff, and we just figured he wanted to do his CB, and I said, let's up the game. If you take your test and you get it, then we'll do and you get your ham radio, then I'm going to buy you a radio for your rig. And he liked that idea, and so we're just kind of going from there. And that's where it started. Got my license, but then after that I got no idea. So the field day. So I kind of hesitate to say good. I'll tell you what the good was. When I walked up there, I'm not sure who was checking people in. Does anybody know his name?
Yeah, that was Bob, BXZ.
Yeah, super friendly. Came up to me, made me already, hey, who are you, part of the club? Let me check you off. Let me show you around. So that was really cool. I really appreciate that. That was a good. The second thing for me is the good was the food. That was some good food there. So I do appreciate that also. As far as the field day stuff, I'm really not. I think that I was there to ask a lot of questions. But I don't know how field day is really. It's more about getting points and making contact. So I kind of wanted to stay back and not get in the way of the people. So I don't know what the balance is between helping people learn versus making contacts. As far as knowing what's going on, I'll tell you, and this isn't just because it's Jason, but having no idea about how the different frequencies work and the different meters and things like that as far as contesting, the Frisbees, funny enough, just answered all the questions. So when those Frisbees came out and you explained how the person was going to get that Frisbee with that frequency, I was like, cool, this is organized. I get it. That worked really well as a brand new guy.
You're hold your antenna vertical. I'm just curious. You're getting a little static, but not bad.
Okay. How's that? Is that any better?
I actually did improve your signal. Also, sometimes chatting a while can drain the battery a bit. But no, keep going. This is good stuff. And, one thing I'm thinking about right away is maybe we should have set up a table with just your run-of-the-mill stuff. A handheld, a mobile, a power, a battery, a power supply, and exactly that. Kind of have an introduction table to ham radio. Instead, you come over to my table and you go cross-eyed looking at all the stuff I brought.
I was thinking about, as far as learning, and again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes because I know that this day was about getting points and things like that, so I don't think the primary purpose was to teach somebody. But if you want to combine it, what I was thinking was, if once I knew who was working what frequency, if there was some board up by each person that said, I'm on this frequency with this radio with this kind of antenna, and I could just look at that board and go, okay, so now I can see what we're talking about and, what you're running it. That, rather than just going, there's just a whole lot of ham radio stuff out there.
Okay, yeah, I like it. Kind of, maybe it could be as simple as a piece of construction paper with a large Sharpie, and then you would understand what they're doing. Now, a couple of us have swapped bands around a little bit, but that's a good point because you don't want to interrupt people, but at the same time, you're curious, what the heck am I staring at? You know, I had an interesting buddy poll with MassWorks. Chris next to me had the DX Commander, and etc. So, all right, very good. I like it. This is exactly what I wanted to hear because I'm kind of blind to it at this point.
And again, I know the primary purpose isn't to teach, but and that's why I'm like, I don't really know that there. I mean, there was a lot of good, and I wouldn't say bad, but if you're looking at helping newcomers, that's where I was like, oh, I get lost. And I didn't really want to ask people, well, what kind of antenna is that? You know, so. And that way, rather than maybe disturbing somebody, I'm like, I don't know if I should interrupt them or not. Oh, that's what they're working.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep putting you on the spot. So, what are your final thoughts about it all?
Final thoughts were, and to be totally honest, I really enjoyed my time there. I was expecting to go there for about an hour or two, pick up a couple things, but everybody was so friendly, so welcoming, so helpful. It was just a great time, and I learned a lot. Mike, I appreciate you kind of walking me through things out there. You know, you gave me a ton of good information. When you weren't doing stuff, you were just walking around. So, thank you to that. I really just learned a ton, and I ended up staying a lot longer than I would have because it was fun to talk to people, and I learned a lot. So, I really think you guys did a great job. In my perspective, as the first day.
Is that a comment in there? Go ahead.
Mike here, WG5EK. I just put this out to Joel and anybody else listening. Like, please do not be afraid to ask questions. That's kind of what we like doing. We like to answer questions, like to talk about our rigs, our setups, what we're doing. So please don't be afraid to just, if you see a little spot in there to, you know, if they're not transmitting currently, or even if they are, just kind of like just listen, and eventually, you know, they'll when they get a break, they'll want to talk about it, because really, like, it's all about helping each other. That's the spirit of ham radio is helping and teaching. It's just something that comes natural to most of us. You know, some of us are we like to talk, and it shows. Some of us don't, but you know, that's okay too. But yes, I'm glad you had a good time. Don't be afraid to be curious and to learn, because we're all every day I learn something new about ham radio. It seems like there's always something else going on that I wasn't aware of. I'm somewhat a new ham myself, but like I can tell you that there, even the very experienced hams, there's always new technologies or new things out there that people don't know about. So yeah, just don't be afraid to ask questions. And yeah, we really appreciate having you out there. It was a really fun time.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for inviting me out there, guys. Thanks for making me feel welcome. Thanks for the food, and thanks for teaching me. I appreciate it, Jason. KN6IZB.
Awesome. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you so much. I know it's not easy sometimes pointing a camera at you and going kind of live like this, but we do it every week, and we're just kind of hanging out. We're just dragging anyone that wants to come with us. So, Chris, I have one more special guest, but I'm going to kick it back to you as the MC to see what maybe you have to say or your thoughts. This is KM6FAK.
Hey, Jason, I'm hoping that special guest might be a new friend I made over the weekend. But before we get there, I figure maybe we'll bounce from like a brand new ham to one of the hams that was around, when ships were made of wood and things like that. And I want to give a big thanks. N6 Very Low Frequency, Kevin, president of the club. This is the guy that opens his yard to us. He actually mowed it so we could be out there. He starts, way before field day, and I'm sure he's still out there cleaning up after. He's super humble. He's going to act like it's no big deal, but it is a big deal, and we all appreciate it. And he'll be at no shortage of words. So once I know when I release this PTT, we're going to have to hear him for a little while. But hey, Kevin, we really appreciate it. Thanks for putting on a great field day. Couldn't do it without you, and we're gonna tie some stakes down to you so you can't leave town, you know. So without further ado, here's El Presidente of the VVR, Kevin, very low frequency.
You're welcome, Chris.
Oh, come on.
Well, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed meeting all the new folks. Matter of fact, everybody that took time out of their day to come out and visit us on Saturday, thank you for doing that. It really makes our day. It wasn't just myself. Most of you know, Jason was our logistics person. Bob Hawkins was our safety manager. And then we had our kitchen crew, which was more than our kitchen crew. I mean, Mike the geek there was part of the kitchen crew, but he was also part of the logistics. And we had Art and Don and Frank and Dan and several. Oh, and let's see, I don't want to. We also had Friday and Saturday. Friday especially, Dean Lamp showed up and a whole bunch of people. So the Friday before we start, we have a whole bunch of people there to help us get it ready. So it wasn't just me; it was an absolute group effort. But the joy in it is seeing everybody come, not only from the club, but visitors and other club members from the 2-meter crew and their friends came by to just hang out with us and have a burger and play ham radio. So we really, really enjoyed it, and I do hope we get to do it again or in the next year, and I hope we get to do something in the near future that will resemble some kind of bring your favorite equipment and we'll help you figure it out and hook it up day. So we're working on that too. So anyways, really nice to see all of you there. Thank you so much for your help. And yeah, the food was great. N6VLF.
Well done, Kevin. Again, thanks for everything. Really appreciate it. I'm going to kick it back over to Jason, who might be introducing us to a guy I just met this weekend on field day. He kind of rocked up on my RV and my rig and taught me how to use my radio and did a little work on CW and on phone, and he was just a pleasure to hang out with. So I'm glad Jason was able to get him to take some time out of his busy schedule and join us. But let's let Jason kick it off.
All right, very good. This is KM6FAK. So first I want to start with a video and just a little background. So it was, let me drop this.
Need a little intro music there.
I got too many soft buttons to push. Alrighty, so yeah, as Chris alluded to, we had a young man. I think he beats you out, Brian. Sorry, you are now no longer the youngest. But anyways, I got contacted by his parents on Friday, and they just had a lot of questions. And I could tell right away they weren't hams, and it was their son. And they just wanted to know what kind of activities did we have for field day. So I was like, yeah, heck yeah, come on out. Here's the information. So sure enough, his dad brought him out to us here in Fairfield. And I'm just cruising around with the camera, as I do. I'll be putting together a somewhat nicely polished video later. But let me key up this video real quick. And you can see I came around the corner, and this is what I saw. This is our friend Ryan here. Nicely done.
Well done.
Man, oh man.
So does it come back that way, or does somebody come on?
All right, so that was just a snippet of the video to come, but yeah. So I came around the corner, and there I saw him on Chris's radio with a hand mic, not even a keyer, and I'm just like, what am I seeing here? I didn't even know you could do that. So I was blown away. Let me bring this up here. All right. So, I don't think he's in RF mode, so I'm going to unmute you there, Ryan. And his call is KN6GZE. Ryan, can you hit unmute? I'm trying to hit unmute right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we hear you. You have the floor, so please just introduce yourself. I think people are going to be curious to know how long you've been in the hobby, and how the heck did you learn such good CW if it's not required anymore?
So my name is Ryan, KN6GZE. I've been in the hobby for about 4 months now.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, 4 months, you got your license. What influenced you exactly to get your license?
So we went to this, thing back in this kind of like ham-vention, not really, back in October at the San Ramon Marriott, and it was called PacificCon. And I went there to actually do the radio merit badge.
Nice, nice. And so obviously you went through with flying colors, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 months. Okay, so then my next question is how did you learn CW in 4 months?
Well, if like I'm gonna get an HF radio someday, you need to practice it, because that's like the only way that like, you know, you can get on technicians can get on HF. It's like, you know, just learn it.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what about generals? Is that coming up soon for you?
Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
Awesome. I've got a feeling you're not going to have too much trouble with that. And then, so what kind of direction? Let me reset the repeater, by the way. And so, what kind of direction do you want to go next with this hobby? Like, do you want to do contest, HF? Do you want to bounce signals off the moon? Where do you see yourself in 2 years?
Well, I'm currently working up towards an HF rig.
Very good. And would that be the 7300?
Yes.
Yeah, you sat down and showed Chris how to use his radio. Now, I think Chris had his radio for 6 months or so, but you must have read that manual front to back. Is that what you did?
I actually didn't read the manual.
Where did you learn how to go through the menu so fast?
I'm I want 7300, so I gotta learn how to use it. So instead of printing the manual, which I shouldn't have done, right? I just watched a bunch of videos until I had enough information up here about how to use the 7300, and he didn't even know that I could do an internal CW keyer. And then he's like, "You just taught me how to do CW."
Oh yeah, well that's good. That's good. Give me more stuff I can make fun of our buddy Chris with. That's great stuff. So, what did you think? Did we do a decent job with field day?
Yeah, more than decent.
Thank you. And what kind of things would you like to see next year if you're coming? I mean, maybe there'll be one closer to you, but we'd love to have you back.
I would expect about the same.
That's a tough question.
Setup, except everything is moved around again.
Yeah, change it up a little bit. What about a bounce house? Would that be exciting?
No.
All right. Well, that's the right answer. All right. Well, very good. Thank you for joining us. We're going to just kick it around a little bit. People might have questions for you because growing up, I used to watch a TV show called Doogie Howser, and we've been kind of saying, yeah, did you guys see Doogie Howser? Because a couple people, they didn't catch your name. But Ryan, you are an amazing young man, and I can't wait to see where you go with this, because right now, you're 4 months into it, and you're blowing the doors off all these people. All right, Chris, back to you. I'm going to reset the repeater. This is KM6FAK with KN6GZ Echo.
good to see you again, Ryan. Thanks for spending part of your field day with me on my rig there, and obviously teaching me how to run the darn thing. So I made notes, and I'm making good progress, hopefully using some of what you taught me. So, hey, how about we look out? Did anybody, we're getting a lot of the folks who are at our field day in Vacaville. I'd love to hear from some folks that weren't there, that maybe had field day elsewhere. Anybody maybe on EchoLink or DMR that's calling in maybe from a little further away, who did something over field day, they can share what went on in their area.
Yeah, this is T0WTF from Colorado Springs, and saw you guys on YouTube and want to jump in.
Hey, Colorado Springs, how's it going? This is N6CMB in Clayton, California. Great to have you in here. Did you get some activity going on field day out there?
Yeah, just a bit. I was just operating from my porch. I was originally licensed in 2007 and took a really long break, and just recently got a 7300, and one of my buddies talked me into trying FT-8, so made a couple contacts there, made a couple contacts on phone, and it wasn't too bad. With the coronavirus and whatnot, it was interesting running 1E on a battery, but it worked out pretty good. How about you guys?
Yeah, you took a break from the hobby. Was that, did you get back into it here during this stretch of COVID, or prior to that? What brought you back to the hobby?
So it was really, we're in the backcountry fairly often, and there's no cell service, so I got back into 2-meter, and then started kind of tinkering around with the notion of getting back into HF. Got some more of my HF gear, and there's been a couple of advancements since I was last in it, FT-8 being kind of one of the more exciting ones, for me at least. And yeah, it's just, this kind of beauty of ham radio is you get to choose your own adventure, right? So kind of figuring out what else is out there, and kind of going from there.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, especially from so far away. We like getting the check-ins from a little further away, those that have found us through YouTube or other sources. Speaking of which, up there in the Northwest Ham Shack, I don't think we've heard about young Nick's field day yet. We've heard a little background stories, but Nick, what did you drag out of the house? Which kids did you take along, and what did you accomplish?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, this is Nick, KN60AL. So for field day, I had a grand notion that I was going to shoot up this mountaintop that I thought I knew where I was going to, and I was going to set up my 991A outside of my truck, make 700 contacts really quick, and we'd all be done and back home by, say 1 o'clock. And exactly the opposite happened for me. So I went up the wrong road, and so we got completely lost. And so my kids consist of an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then a 7-month-old. and so we're all off-roading, and I had my wife with me, and so we ended up pulling off and feeding the baby. And so I set up the 991A inside my truck because it was pouring down rain. And I just put a random wire in-fed antenna up, and you can see it in the pictures there, Jason's putting up. And I just made a couple of contacts. I could hear a couple people. I didn't have the best setup, but I had a lot of fun. And I think it kind of gave me some ideas for moving on into the future about what kind of antenna I want to run while I'm out in the field. So kind of like Carlos said, not a whole lot of contacts, but the ones that I did make were meaningful, and they were fun, and a couple 2-meter contacts on the way down. That's about it. So I think next year for field day, I'm going to try to make it down that way. We'll see. I didn't haven't quite enough notice this last time, but I definitely want to try to make it down there. So appreciate you doing the anti-net tonight, Chris. And I got to say, Ryan, I am absolutely blown away at your commitment to this. I mean, that's just fantastic. If anything, you've inspired me to take up the idea of learning CW at a much more rapid rate than I'm currently doing, which is not at all. And so I actually have a question for you. I'll let this drop. I don't know if I'm going to time out. 1 second. So my question for you is, what app or what did you use to help you learn CW, and what did you find the most effective?
So what I used to learn CW is I had a couple of like pieces. I had a couple of like these little electronic pieces around, and so then I put like a kind of a bigger surface area on the button, and so I just hooked up like a buzzer to it, and just like I tapped it, and it like helped me learn. It was pretty quick for me to learn my call sign.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're a genius too. That's great. I have my work cut out for me. Well, I really appreciate you coming on tonight, and I appreciate you coordinating that with him, Jason. I think that's just absolutely amazing. I have an 8-year-old daughter who's really excited about ham radio and wants to get into the hobby more, and eventually get her call sign. And people like you are inspiring to a lot of people. So thank you so much for coming out. And thanks to everybody who worked so hard to get Field Day going for the club and keeping it alive. So appreciate it. This is KN6DAL from Everett, Washington.
Thanks, Nick. You know you're always welcome down here. We can't get enough of dragging you back down. The boys miss you for sure. All right. I want to make another call out there for anybody who wants to come forward and talk about their field day experience.
Kilo 6, Uniform Sierra Yankee, Chuck here.
John from Ohio. Great meeting you on field day. Tell us what you thought of the whole shebang out there.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Were you talking to me there, Chris? I didn't get it. This is Chuck.
Hey, sorry, Chuck. Yeah, just coming back. I said it was good meeting you out there, and why don't you come ahead with what your kind of feelings on field day, your experience, and comments. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I had a great time meeting everybody out there, and especially you and Chris. I got to speak to you, Chris, for quite a while, and help you with some stuff, and got to spend some time with you there, and Jason and everybody else. You guys do a really great job. I've done a field day before, but it was just me and a buddy. I've never actually. I've been a ham for 5 years, but really never done a group like you guys did, and I thought it was really great there. Over.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of field day, right? It can just be you. It can be you and a buddy, and you and a couple of people. I think when we were broadcasting, we had a few people that definitely were impressed with our 10 alpha status.
Yeah, and I think some people might have been impressed with that little laptop that Jason brought with him there also that was sitting on the table. Yeah, I really wanted to put Ryan in my... I did a video of your guys' thing there. I don't know if you knew that, but... I wanted to put him in, but his age, I didn't know if I was allowed or not, and I didn't think to talk to his parents before I left there the other day.
Well, you've got his call there. I'm sure you can make contact and see see what you can do with the video. Yeah, I mean, everybody got a chance to meet Ryan, and he's a friendly guy, and he showed off some of his skills, and definitely made an impression on the crowd. And I think we've got a pretty strong ham in the making there, if he's not already there. So, great stuff. I don't know, Chuck. What else? What did you take away? You got any plans coming up now for ham radio? And tell us give me your YouTube station so we can sell that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It's KK6USY Ham Radio Adventures, basically my sign on here. I want to help young hams and new hams. They don't have to be young. With making antennas and stuff on their own. It's nothing like making a contact on an antenna you made yourself. And that's kind of what my channel is. I've been doing some parks on the air and stuff like that. But I just, young hams, especially young hams that don't have a lot of money, you can make an antenna for like $10 or $15 or less, depending what you have laying around. And that's what I'm kind of gearing my channel for. But and then I want to do more summits on the air, parks on the air, all that stuff. And I love going out portable because you go someplace and there's no noise on your radio. I mean, I had a hard time tuning up a radio because of the no noise. I had like a screwdriver antenna. I couldn't hear any static. But I got to get one of those fancy things that Vic has. But yeah, I really enjoyed and the food was great, guys. And I wish I'd stayed for dinner also.
Well, I really appreciated having you out there. You were a help to me when I was setting up my DX Commander with a couple of tips on setting it up this time and definitely making an improvement on the installation in the future. I think I mentioned possibly last week that I was going to be running a new antenna at Field Day. It's the DX Commander. Some of you might have seen Callan's web presence on YouTube. Yeah, it was a really good vertical antenna. Probably the only downside to it was it didn't like operating in such close proximity to a lot of other antennas, especially the vertical ones. So I managed to get a lot of sort of bleed over and interference from some of the other stations, even when we were on different bands. But when I had a little free time to myself and could get out, it was working great. The initial setup, of course, I put it off till Friday night. I'm sure Jason's going to be laughing at me about that. I had planned on building it out the week before, so all I had to do was assemble it. But of course, I didn't even open the box until Friday night before, and worked through the night on it and all morning long to get it ready. And right about with a minute to spare, I had it up and on the air.
Yeah, isn't that how it always happens? Last minute, everybody. That's the way I am too a lot of times. Yeah, that's a great antenna. I've had mine. I built my first one from scratch, just looking at Callum's site, and then I built a second light version, and then I ordered one of his light versions just to kind of, I mean, mine are nowhere near as fancy as his because I'm using a grinder to cut it, no water jet, nothing like that, but they all work. They're good antennas, and I use those and, dipoles, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just fun to get out there and make some contacts. I better let you get on to somebody else, or this thing's going to go all night. I really appreciate everybody being so nice out there. My buddy went with me, and he had a great time also. Chris, this is KK6USY, and thanks for all the fun times on Saturday.
Yeah, I was on...
Here. We're going to go out with another call for anyone on a comment about the field day they had or field day they'd like to have.
C7ADD.
Oh, there's
Ben.
I was there, had a wonderful time, and I want to especially give thanks to those that helped me get my antenna working eventually. It turns out that Brian found that it required some muscle power to put the elements together tightly, so I was able to stay on a proper frequency, and I was grateful to Kevin, who also helped in that regard. And I got it working, and I came away with 3 minuscule and 1 very deep minuscule burn, something about RF on my chassis of my radio. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but I understand I'm going to have to build a choke and maybe install a ground. Anyway, we had a wonderful time. The food was great. Brian did a good job of cooking, and he and his wife and son were there helping with the food distribution and preparation, and the wind was strong enough there was no chance that any of the COVID bacteria or virus could get to me because I was upwind from everything.
It was so good to meet you there, Doug, and I'm glad you got your radio working or your antenna performing by the end of the event or during it. And he definitely won the award for the coolest RV. His rig was a GMC similar to the one I think that was used in the filming of the movie Stripes. If anybody remembers those units, they're really unique. At the time, very high tech, and he's got a prime example. If we can get a picture up probably on YouTube now of the big. I don't know. Does anyone call that the Twinkie on wheels?
I've been called that, the mustard machine. Yes, it's front-wheel drive, and it's airbag suspension in the rear, and that's why it sets so low. 1973, classic, really old.
Well, we had a few classics running around out there. We talked about very low frequency early, so that we had a couple of classics running around that field, including your RV. All right. Anyone else want to come forward? Tell us a little bit about Field Day, whether it was with us or elsewhere.
Hey, Chris, comment W6CRP.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, a little while ago you had a double keying in there, and the other was K8JEK. And I believe he was from a distance out trying to key in and talk about Field Day.
Thanks, Carlos. Why don't we get either of those two stations to come? I'll leave it open.
K8JEK. This is John from Ohio. This is my first field day. I've only been a ham since December. And I set up a QRP station out in my backyard, a 4-element beam, trying to work 2 meters single sideband. I was out there about 4 hours, made one contact. So later that evening, about 9 o'clock, I came in the house and got on my HF rig. And within the first 20 minutes, I made 10 contacts on 10 meters. And by that time, it was getting close to bedtime, so I just, I'll listen for a while, and then I just shut her down. My first time working Field Day, but really enjoyed it. I was kind of disappointed, though, that nobody was on 2 meters.
Hey, John, thanks for joining us. And sometimes those few contacts you make are worth the effort. It all depends on, sometimes when you work hard for them, they're all that more worth it. Yeah, we're all questioning the conditions, and I think someone made the comment earlier that, maybe Field Day is about the contest and getting those contacts, but I honestly feel like, at least for the VVR, the Vacaville Valley Radio Club, that it's more about being out there and the camaraderie and getting a chance to talk to each other and compare rigs and make sure that your mobile rigs are ready and to go, and help each other out with setting things up and learning stuff. And I think the number of contacts we made was probably not all that important to too many guys that were out there in our group anyway, and I bet that's true in a lot of places. And according to Carlos, we might have had one more station trying to tell us about their Field Day.
I think you already picked him up, Chris. I think it was Chuck.
All right. I'm going to make one more call, and then we're probably going to start drifting towards our Zoom session. Believe it or not, everyone is welcome in Zoom. We'd love to get anybody who's out here now participating to jump in there, hang out, talk ham radio for a little while. The topics are wide open, so we're happy to chat about just about anything in there. So if you're on here now and you want to keep talking a little ham radio, think about jumping into Zoom with us. I will put it out there one more time before I turn it back over to Jason. Is there anybody else who wants to throw out a little bit about their Field Day experience?
KB3 BXL from Pennsylvania.
All the way from the East Coast. Go ahead, BXL.
Evening, gentlemen. Kilo Bravo 3 Bravo Erie, PA, right by the lake. Just went up to field day that we had out here, and I've been out of the ham radio for about 20 years. Got back into it all last couple months, and just astounded by the progress, the equipment, and the opportunities for people to get on ham radio. The simple thing like this EchoLink and DMR and all the updates with the rigs and stuff is just astounding, the progress that ham radio has made. And I'm tickled to death. It's almost like starting over for me. KB3BXL.
Hey, thanks for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. And there's so much opportunity out here for us, and we're really lucky with the opportunities and the equipment and the ease of getting into equipment nowadays. The quality of equipment you can get at reasonable prices, you know. And as someone said, you don't need a mega rig to go out and have field day. You know, grab an HT and go out and make some contacts, and you're on field day, right? All right, I'm going to close out the on-the-air discussion if we're ready. First, I'm going to check in with Jason, and then I got one last thing to close it out. Jason, anything else while we're still on the air?
Bobby Lee, say hi.
Oh, Bobby Lee, go ahead. Say hello. Tell us a little about your field day.
Oh, yeah, it was actually quite impressive for my experience, actually. Being not much of a contester and more into emergency comms and learning from the big boys that are getting their signals out there. I was very impressed with Eric's setup and how unique he had everything fired up from his pedal. I always used to joke around and be like, what's that stupid pedal for? Isn't that for a sewing machine? And end up watching it in the works, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. How efficient. Wow. So a lot of great people there for coming in at the last part of it and being able to, try my new little bug-out Bobby box and see if it turns on and can hook up and actually transmit. That was cool. So I really enjoyed it. Wish I could have been there Saturday, but I made it up Sunday for bacon and eggs and a good hug and a handshake.
Hey, Bobby, N6CMB, Chris here. As you're talking on YouTube, we're sharing some videos of your so-called Bobby Bug-Out box. It's a beautiful setup, and a lot of guys got to see it on the morning, really were impressed. Bobby showed up with two cases, each on its own, self-supporting, batteries built in, everything you need. One to go UHF and VHF, and the other one full setup to go HF. And just grab those small suitcases, head out the door, and you're ready to get on the air. How long did it take you to build your HF rig, Bobby?
That's actually a good question. That's the one thing I didn't track. I'm thinking, it was probably somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, the end result was really cool, and I know I appreciate it. A lot of others did, and I'm sure Jason's going to feature more on his YouTube station, but people are getting a sneak peek right now at kind of the way you set it up. I mean, the thing had a laptop in it. How many other guys do something like that? Just completely over the top.
Man.
Yeah, the laptop and the iPad fit in there. It was crazy how, and the designing of it all, like I put emphasis on, I wanted that laptop in there. And it's kind of funny how everything turned out. But it is the ultimate COVID garage build, utilizing anything I could find on a shelf or in a drawer, and putting together a fully self-contained, portable, emergency communications, worldwide, global capable apparatus, grab and go RTR, ready to run, and it'll power anything else that you want
Quite crazy. This is kind of blows me away. I have a plug to come off the Anderson straight from the battery that will jump your car if you accidentally left your dome light on.
Well, Bobby built some amazing rigs, so if you're maybe wanting his services, reach out to him. Bobby, give your call sign again, and thank you for showing up for field day.
I appreciate that, you guys. I really do. It was a great experience, and I actually learned some unique things out there, which I love about my hobby. I'm always learning something new, and boy, people like Jason and Kevin, and of course you, and are a great inspiration, because you guys are a wealth of different levels of knowledge. My God, Jason is just amazing. I kind of, I stand next to him. I stand tall, but I feel dumb.
No.
So thanks again, you guys. KD6KWV, and I do have a full video of everything that I'm compiling, hopefully through Jason, and he'll get it up on the air, and you guys, some point or another, are going to be able to see it from A to Z in a short little video clip. KD6KWV clear 730.
All right, M6CMB. Jason, you were just giving us your closing comments when Bobby arrived for on air. I've got one more closing comment on air when we go, but before we do, Jason, anything else?
Oh, just pushing buttons here. No, that was great. That was really good. I hope everyone out there in RF land enjoyed that. But yeah, we are coming over an hour at this point on our repeater. So from here, we're going to jump into more of a YouTube/Zoom. Feel free, come find us on YouTube if you're out there listening to us just on a ham radio. The channel's called Ham Radio TV. And here in a little bit, I'm going to drop a link so people can jump in Zoom, and we can just kind of hang out for about an hour and talk radio. So great job, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the special guests tonight, especially you, Ryan. And Joel had to duck out a little early. But yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. This is KM6FAK.
Okay, and you guys know I love my trivia, so I'm going to end with a little field day history. Anybody happen to know what year the first field day was conducted? How about a call sign for that 1936 guess?
Oh, KD6KWV.
Well, you're wrong. But you're very close. 1933, June of 1933, QST announced that the second Saturday in June, for a period of 27 hours, starting at 4 p.m. local time, hams would go into the field and set up portable stations. And that was the beginning of field day, 1933. Now, the reason I mentioned that 27 hours is there's an interesting set of rules we were talking about during field day. If you set up before field day starts, you only get 24 hours to operate. If you start setting up at the beginning of field day, then you get a full 27 hours. So something to consider when you're considering how you want to go, how many hours you want to operate, maybe if you really are after capturing all those contacts. Thanks, everyone, for being on the air tonight. I'm going to return the repeater to its normal operation. Feel free to hang out and chat RF if you guys want to, but we really hope some of you join us in the Zoom and hang out and talk ham radio for a little while. This is N6CMB, Chris in Clayton, California. Thanking everyone for being out there, sending 73s and 88s.
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you on that 27 hours.
Thank you, Chris. Phenomenal job. Good job, everybody. W6CRP.
Hey, Chris, are you there? Am I there?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike.
Okay. Hey, Chris, so the 27 hours...
Hey, Ryan, good job out there tonight, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out again tonight.
Oh, love it.
Hey, Chris, can you hear us?
Chris?
Got us muted.
Someone hold up a sign.
I'm going to guess.
I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, we can't hear you, buddy.
Hey,
hey, let's hear from a Texas station. The other Jason down there. How in the heck was your field day?
Where? Jason's muted. Can you hear me, Nick?
Where?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
Oh no! Now it's coming back, guys.
I'm just messing.
A little bit of volume.
YouTube.
Let me make sure I don't have YouTube going anywhere.
Yeah.
Got something going.
All right, you looking good, Chris?
Yeah,
Okay.
I found it. Sorry about that, guys.
Whew. Bunch of amateurs.
Woo.
Hey.
It's like the first time we've ever done this or something, right?
Hey, so let's hear from Jason down there in Texas. How the heck was your field day, man?
What's up, man? It was pretty good. It was good to get out of the house for a little bit. We actually we have a club. It's a very informal club. We basically, there's no dues, there's no monthly meetings, there's no something. We basically all got together and just created a club call sign. And we get together we've done Winter Field Day together the last couple of years. Sometimes we do the Texas QSO party. This is the first time we've done Field Day together. And since all these lockdowns keep happening, especially, Texas is on their second round of lockdowns now. We decided to go up. I have a hunting lease with about 200 acres, about an hour and a half north of here. And let's just get up there and get the heck out of the city for a couple days. So we went up there and set up some antennas and made some plans to put up maybe more of a permanent installation up there on a 40 or 50 foot tower. More to come on that later. But we made 60 something single sideband contacts, and I took my flex radio up there and operated FT8 pretty much the whole time, and except for a few hours Saturday night when I slept. But I made 130-ish FT8 contacts. So, but I got some 10 meter and some 15 meter FT8 contacts done. So I was really happy about that, because the bands were open a little bit on some of those odd bands that you don't get on much. But it was a fun time. It was a fun trip. It was fun to get out away from the city for a little bit. It was fun just to get together. We smoked a brisket and we drank a lot of beer, and you can't ever go wrong with that. So,
Okay, very cool. Good deal. Yeah, you know what? You probably did way better than we did as far as contacts went. I mean, I haven't seen the grand total yet, but we definitely were having a much more social time than we were trying to win or place. But
oh yeah.
We made a lot of contacts that just weren't on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I took some time to finish up 2 or 3 videos I had started about various antennas. And I thought, well, I'm going to go set this up at Field Day and show how it operates and whatnot. So I did that. And, a couple of the guys didn't get there till late. 4 of us got there on Friday. And two other guys showed up on Saturday. And one guy only stayed for the day and left. So it was kind of like an in and out thing. But, it was just fun to get out there and do some radio in the park. We weren't really trying to hit it hard and heavy like a contest. They say Field Day is not a contest, and some people treat it that way, and that's okay if you want to do that. But we're just all about getting out in the field and playing radio and having fun with it.
Heck yeah!
I got a question for Chris there in 16B if he's listening.
If his microphone
I'm
works.
listening, and I finally got my audio straightened out, so I won't blow up the Zoom channel.
You're coming in a little hot. Back that off.
What do I say?
Feedback.
That's better like that, huh?
Yeah, that's good. Hey, so my question is regarding your 27 hours on your field day if you set up the day of. So does that 27 hours, the extra hours, can you start that early to catch, if you're on the West Coast? You have to do it after the official kickoff for your time zone, or do you know?
For your time, right? So if ours was 11 o'clock, you can't start. If you want to go 27 hours, you can't start until you're 11, right, Jason? That's the way I read the rule.
Yes, yeah, you gotta wait to set up in order to. Well, it always starts at 11 for us, but then what it dictates is when it ends, depending on when you set it up. So you get the full 48 hours if you wait to set it up.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but who else is gonna be out there? Because if you start on the West Coast, the East Coast is done 3 hours early, so you got 3 hours extra. You're 10 Alpha East Band nobody.
Yeah,
unless they started setting up at 11 a.m.
Our time is.
We were saying it was a funny rule, and I guess it's just a bit of a, a holdover from literally that first field day, and why they picked 27 hours back then. I'd be interested if someone has a theory on that.
We were more interested in breakfast.
I would bet.
What makes
I would bet if you keep operating after 11 on Sunday, most folks that keyed up would tell you, "Hey, the contest is over." It's probably a pretty obscure rule that not a lot of people are hip to.
Yeah.
Probably
well,
right. Hey, Nick, what kind of dog is that? Is that a Weimaraner?
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Yes, I love those dogs. They're so beautiful.
Was there a squirrel in here?
Well, next year we can't have the RVs facing the food. Every time I started to make contact, someone started cooking brisket or throwing bacon in front of me. I'm like, I forget this radio stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So it starts at 11 o'clock for us out here in Sixland, and then it's just an hour later, and all of a sudden it's lunchtime. It's 12 o'clock. Burgers are getting put on there. So that is we're going to have to write the league. We're going to see, maybe we need it in our afternoon. No, I don't know.
So, Jason, are you able to speak openly about your the league approaching you? Was that high security stuff?
No. I mean, so I don't know exactly what it means. I haven't really had time to do research, but oh gosh, what's the acronym now? I forget. I have to look at my email. So what was really exciting is our section manager, and let me tell you, there is 9 sections, I think, in California. I'd have to count them. But he came out to our field day, which was a lot of fun to talk to him. Jim, his call escapes me, but he's right here.
W6LK.
Thank you. And he's right here in our backyard in Walnut Creek, so he's not even that far. He's not like he's deep in the city of San Francisco. But yeah, so he was asking if I'd be interested, and I think I was voluntold almost in this case to what did I forget what
Public Information Officer, PIO.
PIO.
That's what it is. PIO. I didn't want to get the acronym wrong. So yeah, Public Information Officer for the ARRL. So that's pretty interesting and scary all at the same time. Maybe he's watching.
You could probably fit it in with all that free time you have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, during your drive to and from work, just digitally work, dictate, while you're talking, or while you're driving,
Well, that's why I want a self-driving car.
Yeah, you need to get one of those auto driver cars.
Well, now we got an
Get a
in at the
Tesla where
league,
it'll drive
man.
itself.
We're like we got the inside track.
Hey, you want something done? Ask the busiest person you know.
Well, and LK is the proprietor of Elk Antennas. You ought to at least get a couple free antennas out of this.
Is he the guy? Is he the guy that does elk antennas? That's right.
Yep.
He's right here in Walnut Creek also.
And his shop is actually in Pittsburgh, over by near Jason, I think, somewhere over there.
Oh wow, give and take, I guess. Huh?
Really?
Ooh.
So
I know Ted picked up one of those antennas. The Taxman KM6TAX. He's got an elk antenna.
And does he like it?
He was having a little trouble getting it tuned in. I was out with him in the field shortly after he got it, and he was still trying to finesse it in. So I'm not sure now what he thinks of it.
Doesn't Elk make those handheld with the handle on the end for DFing?
Yeah, the log
Yes.
periodics. Yep.
There's also a little apparatus you hook up to it that lets you put it up on a pole too.
Cool.
Yeah, so I don't know what that means. Jason in Texas, have you ever known anyone as a public information officer?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I think they clean toilets.
They
Yeah, we call Jason. We call you a lot of other things, but not a PIO.
They can kind of make up whatever they want to. We have like a youth relations coordinator or something like that out here, and she's like a 15-year-old girl who has her extra license.
Wow.
And they gave her a position because why the heck not? So I mean, I guess they can kind of do whatever they want to.
Right.
And there you go, Ryan. You got to beat that girl down there in Texas and get your extra before you're 15.
Be the official CW officer.
Actually, I think she's 12. I don't even think she's 15 yet. So I forget how old she is, but she's young and she's really into it. She gets on the air and she tears it up too. So it's fun.
Yeah, I tried reaching out. What was that the other day? The youth group was making a call out, Jason, that we tried to reach them. They were in Wisconsin?
Yeah, that was Steve with Temporary Offline. He's a fellow YouTuber, and I think he's got a handful of daughters, but he's got 2 right now that I believe are about high school age, and they are very active with ham radio, and there was a special Yoda Day they were kind of celebrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a rough read on him, but I didn't have enough power to seem to reach out to him, so I was disappointed. I was hoping to get a contact.
Yeah, I don't know if he runs any power or not. I don't know if he's just 100 watts. I'm looking for that video now for reference. But let's pass it around. Who haven't we heard from? Let's see. Brian is joining us. Bert, what's going on? Where are we going? We're going to another planet far, far away. Ooh, your audio is a little low. Somewhere there's a slider to adjust. Let me go.
Scream into the mic, Bert.
How's that going?
Yeah, you're louder, a little louder.
A little louder?
You could be a little louder more.
Even more?
Yeah.
I think that's as far as it goes.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I had a fun day over there. I didn't make any contacts. I don't think I was even on the radio at all that day, but got to meet all of you guys. I watched Ryan over there doing his CW. I was like, whoa, how is that even possible? That kind of thing. It was great. It was fun.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, you didn't have to go too far at all. You're right there, just about same city.
Yep. It wasn't too bad.
And earlier,
did you start cleaning up that ratty old transceiver I gave you?
Oh man, I opened it up and I was like, "Whoa, what's been in here?" But I opened up like the bottom part of it. And I was like tripping out how the wire bundles are like together with like just string. Just like I was expecting like just like zip ties or something like, but it was all like just string, like holding all the bundles together.
Is that from the factory like that, Kevin, back then, or is that maybe a home do?
No, what was it? I don't even know what you gave.
Was that ICOM?
No, it was a Yaesu FT-991
factory. Was it string where it was wrapped around and then loops over, wrapped around, loops over, like super nice and neat?
It was super nice and neat. I don't know if it looped over, but it looked like it was just like one section here, and then it went to another one, and then went to another one.
I know what you're talking about. That's a common way of doing it. That's cool. I'm glad you got that. I got a brand new amp, man. This thing is awesome.
I told you, Nick, you're gonna have to pry it out of his hands. Possibly.
I know he made a comment earlier that said if you need something done, give it to the busiest person you know. And then probably a month ago, he said something about being an underachiever. So that amp might be in the wrong hands right now.
Yeah, it's cool. It says heat kit on it, man.
Field day.
Hey, I actually had
and he's pulling gear out. He's coming out with boxes with tuners and whatever to set up and add to people's rigs. And I don't know. He's got some deep warehouse full of stuff.
The Smithsonian of ham radio equipment.
Wait till he moves to Texas.
We'll see it on Discord, swap and sell here in a minute.
I'm taking most of the cool ham stuff with me, but they're making fun of me. I carry my boxes out, and one of the boxes is old and crusty looking, and I said, "Hey, I keep my boxes, man." Pulled the tuner out, pristine, brother. It's pristine,
brand new.
Now, what was that rig you were running on your dashboard?
Oh yeah, I installed an ICOM 756 Pro 2 on my dash.
You can't even tell when you're driving down the road.
You can't even tell. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you just throw a 12-volt battery in the passenger seat wheel well there, and throw the old massive base station radio up on the dashboard, and you're ready to rock.
Yeah. Hey, it was pretty fun, man. We were Friday night. We were working 20 meters, 40 and 20 meters was kicking some serious rear, man. Till my 8,000 pound portable battery went dead. There it is. There's the portable system, and as you can see, we spared no expense mounting the radio on the dash.
Yeah, what happens if you get hit from the rear or something?
Everybody dies.
That's very slim and covert installation there.
Yeah, and notice we used the proper gauge wire and run it across the front of the dash directly to the battery, and it is fused. We have a 27,000 foot.
I don't see a fuse.
27,000 foot antenna cable.
Here we go.
Because it is mobile. We are hooked to a full.
You just throw it out the window and drag it behind you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't dawn on Kevin that the battery might need to be recharged after a month or so of use.
Yeah.
You know,
We were using it in the shop. Matter of fact, it's right here.
Oh.
It's sitting right here. And I had
to get the last little bit out of it there, huh?
What? Yeah. I don't know. And it was a last minute thing, because we're set up that antenna for the fellows that were going to operate in that corner, particularly Don. So it was what's that? An Alpha Delta DXCC. It does 80 meters, 40, 20, and 10, and it will do 15. But on 40 and 20, it was working very, very, very good. Very, very good.
Something didn't seem right on 80. It seemed like because you were like 13-1 at one point. Something wasn't right.
Could have been the 27,000 foot cable. We're not
it
sure.
Could be that.
Could be, yeah.
But he was killing it on CW on 20 during the day on Saturday. There, he was just nailing them.
For anybody wondering, that antenna is available on HRO for $160. 80 through 10 dipole, 3 kilowatts. So
I
can't go that high.
Full disclosure, I get those antennas, and I understand that they're space savers, but if people are interested in building something, you can build one that works similar for less money, and it will perform as well, maybe even better. But it does take a little time to put together. I'd love to put one together. Yeah, you can see that one has the 3 wires running down, and if you have the room on your property and you could make that a fan dipole, it would probably behave a little bit better. But 20 meters on Friday night was really cooking. It's great. Probably should have started the truck. Maybe that would have helped. Oh, wait a minute. The battery's not hooked up to it. So anyways.
Looks like my DX Commander was taking the foreground up there, Jason.
Well, it's really hard to hide beauty. This was the stacked array here. So this was the first time I tried the buddy pole with a slight V. And the idea was is when it's just a traditional dipole, the ends kind of will sag. And I've seen this a little bit online, guys doing this. I was pretty happy. With how this was. I think the idea would be as well is maybe a little bit more DX. And this is sitting on the 33-foot or 10-meter Mastworks. And what's incredible, you can't quite see there, but there's a crank, and you can rotate the crank, and then it spins that dipole around. I did a video last year, field day on it. Really cool. And then, this is the first time we set up the DX Commander for everyone there, actually. This was the first time anyone has set their eyes on it other than YouTube. And I got to tell you, Chris said Friday, I was already pretty much leaving just about, and he said, hey, he texted me, he goes, are you bringing tools? I'm like thinking why is he asking if I'm bringing tools? And yeah, I do. I carry tools everywhere I go, especially in an RV. You just never know, if you're going to have a breakdown or whatever. But yeah, so I get there, and he's like, I asked him, I said, hey, so what's going on? Is something wrong? Why do you need the tools? Oh, I didn't open my DX Commander yet. He's like, did you bring a soldering iron too? I'm like, a soldering iron? We're now in the field. And
of course, I brought a soldering iron.
It takes 6 hours to put that thing together.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little bit nervous when I read the instructions, and I got to tell you, Callum spares no details in his instructions. The way he packages everything, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. But it starts off saying, like, hey, don't be in a rush. It'll probably take you. He's like, while some people have done this in just over a day, don't be surprised if it takes you 2 or 3 days. And I'm like, well, I got about 6 hours to get before it gets dark.
We're building it in between eating bacon.
Challenge accepted.
That MassWorks tripod, I got one of those, and that thing is slick. Because I told Chris the coolest thing about that is that the guy rings on it are independent of the rotating mast, and the rotating mast is not circular; it's triangular.
Right.
So in other words, it doesn't when it's you rotate it to where you want and the wind catches it. The wind can't turn it because it's a triangular oblong shape, and it's not circular, so it's not going to spin inside the socket that it's in. So that thing's pretty neat. But yeah, the DX Commander's got some really good. We talk about that one quite a bit because Callum's in our YouTubers bunch, and 2 or 3 of the guys have built one, and they're like, yeah, it takes like 6-7 hours to build the thing, but once you build it, man, it is top notch as soon as you get it on the air. So I've got one out in the garage. I haven't spent 6 hours building yet, so I'm hoping to do that soon.
I was pretty careful about the measurements, and he said, if you follow these, you'll probably be close. And I didn't have to recut anything, literally it nailed. I think we saw like 1.1 was probably the worst we saw.
That is one thing I can say is I was blown away with how good it tuned. And I was thinking we're gonna have to take this thing up and down a little bit, and that wasn't the case. It just tuned exactly where. What bands did you run again, Chris?
I put up 3 wires, so I had. What did I have? I had 40, 20, 10, 15.
40, 20, 15, and 10.
Yeah, Chris, let the real operator talk. Okay, Chris? Obviously, you didn't operate it enough.
Well, Ryan was telling me I should have run a wire for 80, right? Didn't you want me to have 80 up there as well?
Probably. I mean, 80 is like best during the night. I don't see anything on there during the day.
Yeah, we did okay. We got a couple of contacts and made it. So I think it's pretty lightweight, which is awesome. Like one guy can put it up, take it down. But it was windy over there. We were seeing gusts like 25 mile an hour and higher all weekend long, and it dances quite a bit in that wind. So that the SWR was definitely jumping around a little bit when it was kind of really getting pounded by the wind.
And then the wind took down the PA system.
Whoa! What PA system was that?
It's like nothing else, just like knocked down, and then like the PA.
Wait. We weren't going to bring that up.
Someone's car was in the way.
Good thing Cliff's truck stopped it.
Yes.
Yeah. That gust, after that happened, somebody looked it up and they said that Travis was recording 50 plus mile an hour gusts.
Wow.
And that one was probably one of the 50s. I mean, out of all these years of doing events and just stuff out in the field and other places, I've never, ever had anything like that happen. And it happened in my own backyard.
Well, we woke up Sunday morning, or was it Saturday morning, and the porta potty moved a good 6 feet.
Yeah.
And it was a handicap porta potty.
Yeah.
If that tree wasn't there, that thing was going to be in the neighbor's yard for sure.
Yeah.
You guys weren't doing a good job filling it up then,
Yeah, it would have been a blank mess,
Well, we were also concerned of fires, Justin, so we were also dampening the grounds.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Practicing that fire safety. I gotcha.
Yeah, we were. All in all, it was a pretty safe day. We even had the neighbors have horses, and they live on the street, and they 2 streets down from me, They come up the back lane, and we're standing there in the kitchen area, between the kitchen area and Chris's trailer, and we saw a horse come through right on the edge of my property with all decked out, its saddle and no rider. So
that was weird.
So Bob, our safety manager, goes, we got to check that out. And so we went down. Yep, horse bucked its rider off. And we're pretty sure it knocked the dude out. But by the time we got to him, he came to. He's bleeding out of his mouth and messed up, scratched. Yeah. So we had the wind blew our porta potty, blew the speakers over. The neighbor got bucked off a horse, and one of our members, like Mike alluded to, had a small minor incident, and he got taken care of. So, 2020 field day. That was it.
Well, Chris and I would have been there, but we were building antennas. Sorry about that. We didn't help with the downed horse rider.
That's okay. When you look down, 300 feet down, you see a guy out laying on his back, and another dude picking his foot up and dropping on the ground, saying, "Hey, are you awake?" Yeah, you get a little suspicious. You go check it.
Yeah, we definitely didn't see any of that. I'm glad you guys responded as quick as you did. That was awesome.
Yeah, we were going to call 912 if we needed to. Yeah.
Who do you get there?
That's the special number. Homer Simpson knows about that.
Oh, wow.
Just watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened with all the 12 bottles of cream soda?
I drank them all.
Oh, well, I stole one. There's one in my garage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we gave you want some? Bert, I still got 2 or 3 of them.
There's probably still a pie and other things in your fridge there, Kevin.
Well, those are going to be eaten on 4th of July, I think.
Yes, good. Just
we gave away cases of water. We gave away bacon. We gave away tri-tip. We gave away a lot of stuff. Yeah, we had enough food for probably 60 people, 60 plus. We probably had 40, 45 people come. So we had extra.
And we had fireworks.
Yes, we had fireworks.
Yeah, the neighbors were setting off fireworks for us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I thought you were talking about Will blowing his fuses. But no, that was different. Okay.
Hey, Brian, KN6VNQ, how's life with 100 watts now that you're officially not just a QRP guy?
Good God, I love it. It's definitely a difference maker. I'm not sitting outside waiting like 2.5 hours to get one contact in for the day. I can actually make contacts now from my backyard if I call for like 2.5 hours with a noise floor of like a S5, S7, S9 on its bad days. But it's probably a bad time given it's like 102 almost every day over here in the valley. To sit outside, so I got to get out there really early, and that's time for 40 meters for me. So 20 is kind of a no-no during the day unless I want to go out during the evening. So I love the 891. I should have bought that over the 818 when I first got into the hobby. It's cheap. It's what's the word? It's modern because it's only 4 years old. It can be used as a base station, 100 watts, and the best feature that even some of the big radios do about it is the digital noise reduction, which if you come in contact with a station who's probably an S7 where you're at, if you have the digital noise reduction turned on and you can adjust the level of it, all the noise, all the static in the background of their transmission is gone, dead silent. It's just their voice as if you're talking to them on a 2-meter repeater. I love it. I love 100 watts. It's great.
I got cool, man.
Wait till you get 1500.
You like green amplifiers? I'm teasing. Sorry, Nick. I'm just torturing Nick.
Hey, that's okay. I deserve to be tortured. I'm totally sidetracked right now. I'm like building an antenna while everybody's talking.
Well, guys,
I saw that tape measure out.
Yeah, I've been stringing apart this tiny little antenna so that I can hike with it. I'm just doing an in-fed half wave for 20 meters.
Is that the one you're putting on the dental floss roll?
No, I did one. So the problem is I'm gonna take 2 of them, because if I get up to a peak and I don't have room to stretch out 67 feet of wire, I'm gonna have a backup that's just a 20 meter in fed. So if I get on something with not a whole lot of terrain up there.
So Nick's the real ham operator here. He's not only on the stream talking about ham radio, he's building an antenna during the stream. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hey guys, I'm gonna jet. I gotta leave early tonight. I got stuff I gotta go do. So,
all right, Kevin. 73.
Nice seeing everybody. It was great.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for everything this past weekend.
You're
Thanks,
absolutely
Kevin.
welcome.
Everything you did.
It was my pleasure. Good night, guys.
Good night.
I'm gonna bounce as well.
Good night,
everybody.
Yeah,
Hey, we got someone new there with Frank the Tank. I can't resist trying to see who that is.
That's Jason's friend down in Texas. It looks like he's got his video muted. Feel free
did he
to
join? There he
feel free
is.
to jump in. We don't discriminate, even if you're purple. Oh, that just changed my color. That was weird.
The good camera is up, and I'm on a computer that doesn't have a camera right now.
No worries, no worries.
Describe what you're seeing around you.
Well, at least you didn't ask him what he's wearing.
That's the next question.
That's the next question.
I often notice that, as hams, we're like worried about our video an awful lot. Like who cares? It's all about the audio, right?
Well,
Yeah, I spend quite a bit of time working on my background with my setup here.
Did you do like a smoke burn on those?
Yeah, that thing will look like that.
Oh man. Well, very
That
good.
wasn't me.
Dan was in here moments ago. Looks like we just missed him. I was getting ready to key him up. Some people, they don't want to double over anybody. But yeah. So we're approaching 9 o'clock. 15 minutes till. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep, so I think my goal is to end it at 9, unless President Trump or somebody joins us. You never know who jumps in these Zooms. But
And on that note, I'll sign out.
all right.
All right, you guys. Have a good night. And Chris, man, that was a fabulous job.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
job,
Carlos.
Chris.
Thanks for being here tonight, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we'll see you guys.
See you, Carlos.
He's gonna make the squares an odd number. Oh.
See, that's no good. We got to get somebody to fill in and get.
Yeah, now we need one more.
That's right.
There's still 41 people watching. Hey, somebody jump in here, even out our squares.
Yeah, the link is there in the chat. Mike has been sharing it. Just click that Zoom. I don't know, when you click the Zoom, do you have to push in a password?
No.
Okay, because the link just takes care of it.
I think as long as you have the Zoom app or program downloaded on your computer. If you try to do it through the web browser, you might have to put in the password.
Okay. Hey, Chuck, I was very impressed how fast you got that video up and out.
Oh, do I have audio?
Yeah, you got audio now.
Oh, yeah. It was a pretty short one, so not too hard.
Perfect.
It was. I had a good time with you guys up there, though. It was great outside of the wind.
Yeah, it was a little windy for sure. It was kind of nice to get in the RV. Chris and I, was that Saturday night? We pulled everything inside of his RV and just sat there. And he did some phone on 40, and then I was doing 20 on FT8, and then we both at one point were just doing FT8 on 20 and 40, and we took us into probably 12, 1 o'clock, Chris.
Yeah, we went pretty late that night. It was good though, and there was tons of. I mean, if you, I can see why you run FT8 all weekend. You could rack up some contacts. And were they like 2-pointers? You were saying we were getting like double points for FT8.
Digital.
I love it.
That's right.
So that we did some good work that night, and a cold beverage to boot.
So I wanted to say hello to Lewis there, Lewis White. How's it going? You can hit the unmute button. I think your audio should come through. Or maybe I can push it. This is like when you lock the car door.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. How's it going?
There you go.
Hi, this is Louis, KG5EFQ. Actually, I'm in the house, so I can take that off.
All right. Well, that's
social
good.
distancing, Louis. You're going full on. We appreciate it.
I was just trying to get y'all squares evened out for you.
Yeah,
I listening in before.
I appreciate it. What city and state are you in?
I'm out of Hammond, Louisiana. Which
awesome.
is just north of New Orleans.
Okay. What kind of weather is there right now?
Hot.
Hot and humid?
Just about any time of the year. Hot and humid.
Ooh, baby. With big bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
All mosquitoes talk outside, and they'll say, shall we eat it here or carry them home?
That's great.
Hayden's in the house.
Yeah, Hayden. Hey, are you on a cell phone? You should rotate it sideways. Okay. I was assuming it would fill the screen.
Doesn't work like that.
Okay, well,
Hayden,
you must have one.
You should have come up for field day, man. You would have.
Hang on a minute. I'm in Australia. That's better.
Oh, that's okay.
Does that work?
It's the southern hemisphere that's messing us up.
Which way does the water flow when you flush? Is it
flows the opposite way?
Counterclockwise. So how was your weekend, Hayden? I know Australia doesn't separate our ARL field day, but any kind of ham radioactivity to report on?
No, so this week we've just reopened our club rooms because of the ongoing pandemic. We were able to reopen that, so we had about 20 members last night, and we had a presentation, so that was good. But we did have a field day, not last week, but the weekend before, and we had about probably a dozen stations on, so that was good. Nothing to sort of the same sort of sizes that you guys get over there. You go all out. You've just got all the gear and all the participation. It's great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, where we're located, we're still partially locked down, and a lot of people chose to just cancel their field days altogether and work at home. There was a new exemption this year, but we just said let's do it, and we went to a windy, dry field. It was good.
Sounds appealing. I hope you had plenty of cold beverages there.
Yes, we had gallons of cream soda.
So it's summer over there. What's the temperature like?
Here in the East Bay, it's been getting into the 90s, touching 100 here and there, but it is dry heat and it cools off nice. So right now it's probably I'm in my garage with some fans on, and we're at 82 Fahrenheit. So you have to convert that.
Yeah, I was trying to do it in my head.
61 and raining here.
61. So Nick used to be cool with us down here, and that's why we became friends, but then he left, and now it's questionable if we're going to continue to
it's
be
like
friends.
33, 34, Aiden, that kind of temps.
Yep.
But yeah, just about, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, we've got Washington, Louisiana. Now, you're not necessarily Australian, right? You're
Tasmania. It is Australia.
Like the devil.
Like the devil. It's Tasmania's. It's an island that is about 300 kilometers, whatever that is in miles, 200 miles, something like that.
Like 27,304 miles, something like that.
And is it
South
good? Is it good or bad? You're on an island. You're not a part of the mainland.
Well, it's good and bad. It's good in the fact at the moment we were, due to the lockdown, the island was very effective because the only way to get in is either by boat or by plane, and both of those weren't running. So we did very well with the pandemic and managed to, I think we've gone now 47 days without a single case. So
wow. That's because you're not testing.
Sorry?
That's because you're not testing. You guys ran out of test kits.
That's all right.
That's a bit of a joke here in the States.
That's because they let it run its course.
If you don't test as much, then you don't find them, right?
Well, that's what I was alluding to.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. That was just that's more of a joke. I don't weigh in either way.
Our news and current affairs shows here, they do mock your president quite a lot, so we do hear about it.
Well, think about it. We are known for Hollywood and all the entertainment, and we don't want to let the world down. So look at this. Here he is. It's like it broke off. the Tanzania, I feel like it broke off at one point. Like there was a tip and it broke off, and here's some pieces remaining. A little plate tectonic.
Jason's just trying to show off that an American can find Australia on a map.
Well, okay, so here's a fun.
You can't pronounce the name though.
You can't pronounce Tasmania.
Tasmania.
But you almost find Australia. You know.
You may almost put us in Africa with Tanzania.
Well,
it's like people that confuse Austria and Australia.
Did you have to flip your camera around to be able to see us properly?
Yeah. Yep. No, I've got the iPhone. It's got the mirror effect.
So that's where the Glock is made, down with you, right?
Yeah, that's the other one. Austria. Well, then, good day, mate.
Yeah. Crocodile Dundee is not one of our greatest movies of all time.
Oh, that was Dumb and Dumber, man. Come on. That was Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah, it is too.
Austria. Well, good day, mate.
Good day, mate. I remember that. Yes.
That's our wild card. If you take it too far with Trump, then we pull out Dundee.
I've got a Dundee.
I know you pulled out Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm sharing on YouTube right now, which I listen to some motorcycle podcast stuff. Anyways, people go to Australia because they're like, oh, that's a cute little island. We'll go ride around Australia. And what they don't realize is the size of Australia. So I'm trying to find a good picture. Gosh, I always end up on Pinterest. Why do I get on Pinterest?
It's as big as the United States.
That's right. It is.
Inhabited though, like probably not as much, right?
Yeah, there's like 14 people living there.
Yeah.
So it's like Wyoming. Yeah. Okay.
And they're all my family. So.
Yeah.
Our population is about 22 million.
Okay, 22 million. We're at 330 million. What's the U.S.? 300.
There's nothing in the middle, but dingoes and it's pretty scarce out there in the middle, right?
Yeah, everyone lives on the coast, pretty much. There's a couple of inland cities, capital cities, but yeah, everyone lives on the coast.
So you said how many million?
22 million.
Holy crap! California has 39 million. Whoa! Yep. So yeah, you guys have a lot of land out there.
On this island, we've got 500,000.
Oh. Wow.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So how are you guys doing out there? Because I think everybody kind of forgot that you guys basically burnt to a crisp back in February. So how are things going at this point?
Well, it's the middle of winter, so we got no fires, so that's a good start. No, every summer it's always a concern, bushfires in any part of Australia, wherever you live, because it is so dry. Our rainfall is so low. But a lot of those areas have started to rebuild and growth is starting to come back, and people are starting to visit these areas for for tourist attractions and things like that. So it is on the improve. It's not spoken of as much because of all the other news that's been happening. So, but yeah, it was a terrible time when those fires were raging across pretty much the whole of Australia. Was on fire. There was fires everywhere. So we just hope that we don't get another repeat of that anytime soon.
Now, were
Australia is a bit like Texas, right? Like they like to do everything really big, so they don't just have little fires, right? They have the whole country go on fire. They got sharks with laser beams. They got these crocodiles that'll leap out of rivers and drag you down there and spiders as big as my head. I mean, they don't mess around. Everything's big in Australia.
That's a perfect depiction of Australia. Exactly. What it's like.
I don't know what you've been watching, Chris, but you need to tone down. We're trying to get people to come into the country, not to leave. No, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good place to visit. Once everyone's allowed to visit again. Of course, our international borders are still closed. So,
now, how much power can you run as an amateur radio operator?
We have ridiculously stupid limits here in Australia. We can only run 400 watts on sideband and 120 watts on FM or carrier.
Wow. Yeah, so it's going to be hard to talk a ham from the U.S. down there.
Is New Zealand different?
I believe New Zealand's different. I believe they have a kilowatt.
Okay.
And we've been trying for a long time to get a kilowatt, 1.5 kilowatts. And for a little while we had a program where you could apply for a special exemption on your license, but it was only for people who were doing EME.
Huh.
Bouncing signals off the moon were allowed a kilowatt. And it's been, for a long time, it's been a real point of discussion to try and get us more power, because we love more power.
Yeah, what are they so afraid of? I mean, you're down there all alone on that island with 22 million. Come on.
Yeah,
starting fires.
Starting fires. Make sure you ground your station.
Well, one of the things in Australia which is a bit controversial at the moment is our representation in amateur radio is done primarily, or has been for the last 100 or so years, by one body, a bit like the ARRL.
Yeah.
And now there's been a second body come in who were not pleased with the first body and what they were doing. So there's a bit of infighting going on at the moment, and I don't think it's really helping the cause of amateur radio down here. So these sort of things that have to get passed on to the government agency, which is the equivalent of your FCC, ours is called the ACMA. The representation there can be a bit lacking when you've got two bodies representing ham radio with opposing ideas. So it's all a bit political at the moment. So,
well, that's a bummer. That's kind of how it sometimes works, huh?
You guys are doing you guys are doing really well over there. You're getting people passing their tests left, right, and center. It's great.
It does seem to grow. A week or two ago, I think I brought up some different charts. You know, you can Google, of course. But yeah, I think the hobby is definitely growing, which is super exciting. You know what? We haven't heard from David. He's in the bottom right box here. David, how are you? Feel free. There you go. Hit the mute button. Where are you calling from?
Oklahoma. I'm actually Oklahoma Ham Radio.
Oh,
on YouTube.
Yeah, very good.
Went down and spent some time with Jason, the other Jason, down in Texas this last weekend for the non-contest that took place, and he was very nice. The group was great. It was a lot of fun. Have some video on my channel about it, but want to thank Jason for that, for sure.
So there's more than just yourself in Oklahoma as a ham radio operator, right?
Well, they're all, let's just say 10 years ago, I got into the hobby and made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of frustration, went to different clubs. Nobody was doing anything that I was interested in. It was all siren tests or, just very, very few things. Got kind of frustrated, got away from it. And, COVID hit and I went, hey, I've got a ham radio license. Went back and checked and it had expired 2 months prior.
Oh, no.
So I had to go take my tech test again and got back into it. Found you guys on YouTube and said, this is what I needed 10 years ago. Right. So, and then watched the hobby grow. In 3 months, I've seen quite a few people pass their test, and it seems to be a younger crowd that's passing their test now than what I saw 10 years ago. So it's pretty exciting. And, like one of the callers said earlier, there's a lot that transpired in the last 10 years of amateur radio. And it's exciting to see and come back and go, FT8 sounds pretty cool. So I'm in the process of trying to build my shack back out and decided, hey, I've done YouTube before for robotics and some other stuff. Might as well do a channel for amateur radio for somebody trying to get back into the hobby.
Okay. Well, I just was playing your channel there for people on YouTube. And exciting stuff. Yeah, I checked out. We saw Jason. We saw like behind the scenes of Jason and Frank the Tank, and I could tell they were enjoying all of the liberty in Texas. Sometimes I wish I lived there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, as somebody posted a comment that I may have given away where they were, and I said, well, I wouldn't show up uninvited. They were very well taken care of down there. So.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, excellent, guys. We're at the 9:04 mark, so I wanted to say I'm gonna kind of cut it not short, but just cut it off around here. Does anyone have any last or final words? I think we had a chance to hear from everybody tonight. I thought it was a lot of fun, kind of rehashing field day, and we had a great time. It sounds like other people had a great time, and I think what's so interesting is just the variety that's out there for weekends like this. So let me just kind of open the floor to any closing thoughts of everyone here in our Brady Bunch boxes. Looks like everyone is good. Ryan, will you come back on in a few weeks with us?
Probably.
Okay. You can give us an update. I mean, I know we're kind of old and boring at this rate, but yeah, I want to hear what's new, what radio maybe. I know it's probably tough. I don't know what my parents would say if I was your age to say, "Hey, can I get a $1,300 HF radio?" But who knows? So we're all pulling for you. Hopefully that comes through. Christmas is a few months off, but I've heard of Christmas in July before. That's something. That's a song, or I don't know what that is.
Ryan, I got to give you an audio report. Your audio is better now than it was through that other microphone you were using.
What do you mean? The microphone I'm using?
Because welcome to outside.
Oh, you're outside right now?
Yeah, I'm decoding some FT8 on my little radio here, plugged into this sound card interface and then into the computer. So I'm seeing everything appear here.
And you should start a 7,300 GoFundMe, Ryan. I think you'd be surprised at how fast you could raise a little bit of money for that radio.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, there's a few YouTube channels.
Including a power supply.
Oh.
Those are cheap.
Come on.
He needs a kit.
Come on, your parents can get you a power supply.
He's just like the rest of us. He's running around in the background.
Just build one. Watch Bruce's video. He did a really good demo.
What is that little radio you have, Ryan? That was very cool looking.
This is I got this, I think it was like 2 months ago. This is essentially just a receiver, but it's $90. And the reason it's $90 is because you're really paying for the sideband function that's in here. So that's why I got this.
And what's a name we could search?
Model? Yeah.
CountyCom GP5 SSB little receiver. It works great. I've got it hooked up to my external antenna through a plethora of adapters. It's like this one adapter goes to the aerial, and then it goes to this other adapter, which is the PL259, and then that goes up to the antenna.
No, that's really cool. I think the big thing, I brought it up on one of my screens. I have too many screens, but what I really liked about it is the size. Obviously, you can take it around, exactly what you're doing with it. But then I'd like to cruise around my house and sniff out some RF. That's what I'm really attracted to. Well, very cool. Look at that.
All right, what's your call sign again?
You're talking to Ryan?
Yeah, what's his call sign again?
Ryan's call sign is KN6GZE. And Ryan can tap that out in CW if you'd like.
Yeah, I want to hear it now. Just kidding. I had something to say to Jason also from Texas there, 2.0.
Yeah, go ahead.
Javi says hello. I was just chatting with him as we started the stream tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, we chat off and on. We're they're trying to plan that trip. 7 different POTUS stations, and you move from station to station.
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen, but it's just going to depend on how things go, I guess.
Yeah, we're thinking about trying to attend that if we can, since we're fairly close.
Yeah, Matt wants me to go, and I told him I would go depending on the timing and, how locked down everything is or isn't. But I want to go, especially since Tortugas didn't happen. So yeah, we'll just see what we have to see.
Hey, Nick just posted in the chat that it looks like ham radio. It looks like Josh posted a video review on that radio that Ryan's got.
Your windows closed.
If anybody wants to see it,
yeah, pretty much.
I watched it, and he says he doesn't. He says he's like, it's like missing one of. He says it's missing one of the big features, and it's like this It's like a keypad, but I don't need that. I mean,
I think Josh has 3 of those.
Unless you're gonna chase down a station, you want to quickly type in the frequency, but I don't need to do that on this because I'm just tuning around.
we need to get Josh in here so you can tell him what you think of his video.
Absolutely.
Josh, no, anyway.
Well, all right, guys. It's been fun as always, and I wanted to show people there on YouTube. Maybe they'll watch it later. It's not even going to show up, is it? No, I'm trying to bring this up. Anyways, if some people aren't familiar, or I'll get contacted, and they always say, gosh, I missed your show. And I just want to let people know YouTube has this bell, and that bell will make your phone or make whatever ding, maybe an iPad, to let you know we're live. But it's every Wednesday at 7, and that bell will show you, when videos come up and that kind of stuff. So I know a few people always say they always forget, because it is hard to remember what day of the week it is and what's going on, especially for people that haven't gotten out in a while. Every day looks the same. All right. Well, then I'm going to say good evening, good night, good morning probably to Hayden. No, you're what? Lunch? 2 o'clock?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon?
Good afternoon.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, hey, it was a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. is Pacific time. We're out here in Sixth Land. And it's always a lot of fun getting different people. So if you're watching this at a later time, think about joining us. We don't care what you look like. Even a cell phone can join us. All right. I'm going to push some buttons and stop streaming. And I'll say goodnight. 7-3.
7-3. 88s.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, 88s.
88s, everybody.
88.
You going to pucker up?
7 3s.